Hey everyone, I'm your host, Various Artists from the MyLifeInConcert.com podcast, and this is episode 2 of my new arts interview series, My Life in Conversation, Discussions with Creatives. Today's guest is Polish animator and filmmaker Kinga Syrek, who has just released her debut film, the animated short Too Late, about the life of 1960s Andy Warhol superstar Edie Sedgwick. She also runs the Conversations with Edie Sedgwick Facebook page, where Edie devotees can share photos, videos, and information. The film's music was also created by electronic music visionary and Stevie Wonder co-producer Robert Margoloff, who produced the 1972 cult classic Ciao Manhattan, Edie Sedgwick's only starring role in a feature film, essentially playing a version of herself. And of course, Robert was the interview subject of episode 1 of My Life in Conversation. Now, Too Late is off to a great start, as it just won the Best Animated Film Award at the Across the Globe Film Festival in New York City. It's also been selected for 2 competitions at the 61st Krakow Film Festival, one as part of the national competition and another in the short film competition. So I'll be speaking with Kinga today about Too Late, animation and filmmaking, and the enduring appeal of Edie Sedgwick. Thanks, Kinga, for taking time to stop by the show, and I'd like to start by congratulating you on your win at the Across the Globe Film Festival. How does it feel to win an award after years of work and just as Too Late is being released?
Okay, so thank you for having me, Various Artists. I'm so happy to take part in this interview, and it feels so good, and I'm so happy about the award and about the nomination. Well, because it looked like this. The Polish Krakow Film Festival is a very old festival, and actually I had to submit my film to national competition, to Polish competition, and there were lots of films submitted for this competition, because about 2,500 films. And I submitted it to the national competition, and a few days ago I got an email from Krakow Film Festival, and they said you were selected for national and for international competition. So they chose only 3 Polish animators to compete in the international category. So I'm very happy about this.
Nice. Very, very nice. Okay, so with the film Too Late, how did you first learn about Edie Sedgwick, and what was it about her that drew you to her?
So it all started with Andy Warhol. My mom is an art teacher, and she collected the books collection for her classes, because she teaches art history and art. Mm-hmm. And one book was about Andy Warhol. And when I was a kid, it was when I was about 8 years old, I think 8, 9. I like to redraw his Mickey Mouses or Coca-Cola bottles or Marilyn Monroe. But at this time, I only knew Andy as a painter, as somebody who made screen prints. Yes. But later I was a student at the art high school, and I started to be more interested in Andy as a filmmaker. So at this time I discovered Edie, and the first time when I saw her was in the very famous photograph by Bert Glynn, where in this photograph she's with Andy and Chuck Wayne in the manhole in New York Street.
I know the photo well.
Yes, but I was more attracted by her when I watched the Merv Griffin Show interview, and I really liked about her that she was very charismatic, and she spoke for Andy in this interview. And and later I became, as I said, I was more interested in Edie, and so I started to read about her. So I read Jane Austen's book, and I discovered that her beautiful smile covers a huge pain that she carried inside her soul. So I wanted to make art about her.
So, is Too Late the first Edie-related creative project that you've undertaken?
Actually not. The first project was actually when I was a student at the art high school. And my first project was about Edie, but also about the silver factory. And it was a fashion line inspired by Edie and inspired by Andy. And it was actually my thesis art project, because in the last year of education we had to choose our what would we like to do as a thesis. So it was a fashion line, and I also created a found footage video where I animated some famous photographs of Edie, and I also added some famous interviews, like Merv Griffin show interview, and also some parts of Andy Warhol's film. And you can watch it on YouTube. But also on YouTube I have another video which I actually made when I came back from California, because in 2017 I was in California and I visited Santa Barbara, and I filmed the footsteps of Edie Sedgwick, and I showed her, family house and gravesite and her apartment in Santa Barbara. And it's also on YouTube.
Now, you've just mentioned a YouTube channel. Is that affiliated with Conversations with Edie Sedgwick, or where on YouTube can viewers see these videos?
So the videos are posted on Conversations with Edie Sedgwick, but the name of the channel is like my performance art Instagram. It's MazdaIsphahan. And maybe you can add a link below the video. So they can check it out.
So viewers, see the link below in the text, and you'll be able to see these videos. I have seen them through the Conversations with Edie Sedgwick Facebook page, but it would be nice to let people know where they can go on YouTube. So you've talked about these other Edie projects that you had done before. What made you eventually decide to make the film?
So after the vacations in California, I had to choose a subject for my thesis film at the intermedia department of Academy of the Fine Arts in Krakow. So I naturally chose Edie because I was interested in her and I wanted to make a film about her. And it was and I was doing my project at the animation department, because intermedia is a department where you can study performance, you can study like experimental videos, animation, and so on. And I chose animation because I was interested. I was always interested in, in the exercises which we did in this department, and I was also interested in giving life to drawings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I chose animation department and thesis about Edie. And also it was a very good time to start this project because this year is the 50th anniversary of her death.
Yeah.
So
Do you have anything tied in with that anniversary, or just the film itself being released?
Well, just a film, but we will see. Maybe we'll organize something on the conversations with Edie, because every year we have a project for her birthday, for her for the anniversary of her death. So we will see.
Excellent. So, of course, Edie, she died young, but she had a number of eras in her life and periods in her life where she was doing different things. What aspects or era from Edie's life does the film focus on, and why?
So Too Late focuses on a complicated relationship between Edie and her abusive father, because I think it was a key factor of her life problem and her addiction and early demise. So I chose this subject because the film is only 15 minutes, and I had to choose a particular subject. I couldn't show her whole life, because it would have to be a feature film or maybe a TV series about her. So in 15 minutes I had to focus on one subject.
Yes. So it's more about her relationship with her father and the impacts of that on her life.
Yes. So I also show her in New York, but it's a short chapter in the film.
Okay. So the animation in Too Late is very distinctive. I love how it looks. And in some of the bits I've seen, you're mostly using a grayscale palette. So I'm wondering, why did you utilize a monochromatic color scheme for the animation?
Okay, so let me read a quote by David Lynch, because I absolutely agree with him. So David Lynch said, "I wouldn't know what to do with color. Color for me is too real, it's limiting. It doesn't allow too much of a dream. The more you throw black into color, the more dreamy it gets. Black has depth. It's like a little egress. You can go into it, and because it keeps on continuing to be dark, the mind kicks in, and a lot of things that are going on in there become manifest. And you start seeing what you were afraid of. You start seeing what you love, and it becomes like a dream." So I believe that the limited range of colors can convey more content and focus on the viewer's attention more, and the presented story. And the Too Late is also about symbolism, and the color has a symbolic meaning. So, for example, it represents the role of the character, their dreams, and their emotional state.
The characters themselves are in silhouette. You don't see the facial features. And I'm wondering why you decided to use the silhouettes and remove all the facial expressions and identifiers.
So silhouettes, in particular, color and the way it moves, tells about the role of the character. So, for example, by seeing a white silhouette around the gray ones, we can say that it's the main character.
Mm.
So I think it's the best way to describe a character in the film with such a short timing.
So how long did it take you to complete the animation? And did you do it all yourself, or did you have collaborators?
So it took 3 years, and I did all the visual aspects and the animation by myself. But it was possible not only because I was so determined, but also I was lucky to have very supportive people around me. And I would like to thank my amazing teachers, Professor Krzysztof Kiwerski and PhD Marcin Pazera. And also the soundtrack was produced by Robert Margolev with his amazing team, and I'm so happy about this, and I'm very honored to have them in Too Late.
It's pretty incredible that Robert is involved, as he knew Edie, he had her as a housemate, did Chow Manhattan, so it's incredible that his legacy is now coming in contact with what you are doing now. So that's great. So how did you get into animation, especially in terms of animated filmmaking? And have you done any other animation shorts? You talked earlier about animating some of the images, but how did it go from that to making a film?
I studied intermedia at the Academy of Fine Arts, and I chose animation as my thesis class.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was very interested in working on animation and in seeing drawings and cut out characters comes to life. So that's why I made this film. And earlier I only did some small project, more like exercise projects, like 1-minute films. So Too Late is my first debut short film.
So are there any animators or art or animation styles that influenced you?
Yes, Lotte Reiniger, a German animator who was a pioneer of animated feature before Disney. She was a woman animator. Her silhouette style influenced the Too Late, the style of Too Late. Mm-hmm. I also take inspiration from painters like Edward Hopper and from Caravaggio. You can see maybe in this film the influence of these two painters.
Two very different painters too.
And also I'm inspired by film noir.
That's actually, now that you say that, that's what the animation reminds me of, sort of a 40s noir look to it, film 40s noir look. Okay. So with the movie, you're talking about Edie focusing on the stuff with her father. What would you like the audience to take away from seeing your film?
So first of all, after watching Too Late, viewers who weren't familiar with Edie will know who she was. But popularizing her is not the only reason why I made this film. I would like to tell people about the huge impact that family has on young people's lives, and what happens when a young person can't rely on a parental figure. And I also wanted to raise awareness about mental health because before Edie died, she warned people about the dangers of drugs, and she wanted to be free. She tried so hard to overcome the addiction, but unfortunately, she couldn't escape from her past.
So, as we were saying, this year is the 50th anniversary of her death, and she keeps coming up in the culture. I'm a lot older, and I first heard of Edie when the Gene Stein book came out, but she keeps being rediscovered by new generations. Why do you think Edie's legacy endures?
She has that unique quality and aura around her, which still makes people attracted to her. And I think she was also ahead of her time. But sadly, she was like a shooting star. She shone brightly for a very short time, as an underground movie star and a creator, because we should remember that she was a fantastic artist, and she she did amazing drawings and sculptures and designs. She could be a very famous artist, I think.
If the situation had been different.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in terms of her fashion, she was way ahead of the curve. And what hits me when I look back to a number of her photos is this could be now. This could be almost any time in the last 50 years. And she still kind of looks a bit ahead of her time. And almost kind of out. Some of the pictures you see of her, it's strange because, again, sometimes she could look like now. So it's like she's of her time, but out of time. So to finish up, when and where will we be able to see Too Late?
The film has been submitted for many film festivals, like over 100. But
wow.
I will keep updating on conversations with Edie Sedgwick because I don't know the particular dates. I know that it will be on Krakow Film Festivals, which takes place from May 30 to June 6th, but it's only for Polish audience because the festival passes are limited to 500, and some part of festival will take part in Krakow in the cinema, but another part will take place online. But I will always inform people about new dates where they can watch film online, and I think it will be very soon.
Oh, excellent. I've seen clips and the stills, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the finished movie. So anyway, that wraps up today's interview. Thanks once again, Kinga, for stopping by My Life in Conversation and taking the time to talk. As I said, I'm looking forward to seeing the film and wishing you best of luck with the Krakow Film Festival competitions and success with the film in general. So once again, I'm your host, Various Artists, and thanks for taking the time to watch the interview, all you viewers out there, and see everyone next time. And please remember to drop by the mylifeinconcert.com website for My Life in Conversation episodes, as well as My Life in Concert podcasts and blog entries. So, Kinga, thanks once again for taking the time and dropping by.
Thank you so much.
Great. Bye for now. All the best.